Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review. This is one of these albums from a band I have never actually listened to. I was kind of just reading up on things coming out this week, and it's still kind of slow running, but there's a few things starting to be released at the beginning of the year here. And this came up as melodic rock, and I like melodic rock, so I figured, hey, why not check out this band? It's the name of the band is LastWorld, and this is their album Beautiful Illusion. And from what I understand, this is their fifth album in 5 years, so they've been pumping them out pretty steadily here. This is a band that is signed to Paris Records, and another thing that caught my attention was that because at one point in time, back when I was in a band called Brandy Lies, we were picked up from Paris Records, and you can probably still buy our CD on there. I don't know, I haven't checked, but so I was on Paris Records at one point. We could have, we were distributed through Paris Records. Let's put it that way. We weren't actually signed to the label, but we were distributed through them. And this is way back, but so I thought that was kind of fun just for me to take a look at and check out what's going on with Paris Records nowadays, because I don't get a lot of stuff from those guys, quite honestly. But so basically, the style of music that I'm getting from this band is, funny enough, when we were signed to Paris Records, there was a lot of these bands that were kind of like, well, I don't know how to explain it. Like when grunge took over, you had a lot of bands that had been like flooding the scene from the previous style of music, so like late 80s and early 90s, and I'm going to use the term hair metal, even though I hate that term, but you kind of get the idea what I'm talking about there. Maybe like a little sleaze rock type stuff. Paris Records was taken over, and a lot of those bands, like new bands, trying to push them, and then grunge took over, and that era kind of like died off quite a bit, as we all know. And so when I popped on LastWorld here, this is my first time ever listening to this band, even though it's their fifth album. They've kind of slipped under the radar for me. So many bands out there, it's hard to keep track, but I always try to look for new ones. And so this one, when I popped it in, I got that feeling of, yeah, this is that style of music. It's not so much the sleaze rock stuff, but like one of these bands that came around at the end of that era. And sometimes I'm going to go with the positive stuff on this review first. They're very competent musicians. The playing on this album is great. The singing's fine. There's nothing that sounds horrendous. There's nothing that reaches out and like, oh man, gosh, what the heck was that? There's nothing like that at all. However, there's nothing that really reaches out and grabs you either. Unfortunately, the production on this one is just kind of weak. I don't know how to explain it. It sounds like whoever produced this album didn't take the time to really work on sounds, work on building the song up, peaks and valleys in the songs, anything like that. It's kind of like, it feels like it's just kind of like straight through, no whole lot of peaks and valleys. There's no whole lot of dynamics going on. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat here. It's killing me. Can't get rid of this cold. But anyway, the very first thing I noticed when the very first song kicked in, called Don't Tell Me Wrong, it sounds just like the opening keyboard riff to Metropolis from Dream Theater. And I could not get that out of my head for the whole song. It's kind of repeating a lot in here. Song's good, but that was so distracting for me. It was hard for me to think of anything else as I was listening to that song. And as it goes on, you get, song Younger Days. It's kind of an arena rock type sounding thing. Next song, Cant Explain, is kind of a piano rockier type song. And then it kind of picks up a little bit for I Will Find My Way, a little bit faster. Although this is where I start noticing the singer's really kind of straining to like hit certain things. And even though the singing's good on this album, I find that they didn't explore a whole lot of really catchy melodies. Maybe 5 albums in 5 years is not such a good thing if you're like not taking the time to develop the songs. I just think maybe some stronger melodies I'm really noticing at this point in the album. And by the time I get to Better of Me, kind of a bluesy rocker, getting the feeling these guys kind of like having trouble finding what their style really is. And it goes back to The Fantasy's Over, which is another really synth-heavy song. Destiny, been there before, kind of good harmonies. I'll give them that. There's a lot of good harmonies. The singing's good. The harmonies are really good. Like I said, the playing's all really good. It's like You Never Listen. The power ballad was it was good. The theme was decent, but the vocals just did not bring this one home for me. I'm sorry. And then this goes on. I mean, A Step Beyond Death. A lot of reverb on this one. It kind of looks like they're maybe going for a Badlands type bluesy rock type thing, which probably is my favorite song on the album here. And then Beautiful Illusion is like really, really slow. And I don't know. This kind of ended that way. This kind of whimpered out. So I don't know. I don't like to rag on bands. When I buy an album, I want to love it. I really do. I wanted to love this album. I don't hate this album, but I don't love it. And I think this is a good band. I want to check out their earlier stuff. If there's one thing that this album does, it doesn't make me want to write them off or anything. It actually makes me want to go check out their earlier stuff and see what's going on. Did they start out like strong and then like maybe try to overdo it with too many albums in a short period of time? I don't know. I'm going to go back and listen. I don't want to just write something off because it didn't just like slay me with its brilliance, the first time I heard it. Although, maybe this one just needs a few more listens. Maybe I'll give it a little rest and come back to it. We'll see with the other ones. I'm probably going to go check out the earlier stuff first here and then come back and give this one another listen. Do have some time because nothing really more came out this week other than The Babies, which I talked about, and an LA Guns album. I think they're the only ones I even got this week. So, yeah, so anyway, that's kind of all I got to say about that one. Sorry, guys. If anybody in the band's hearing this, I really don't like saying bad things about albums. And like I said, there's nothing really bad. It's just that there's nothing like really super good. So I just think a little bit more time with this one would have actually really been the best thing to do. Take a little bit more time, come up with some stronger melodies, work with the instrumentation a little bit more, and have some peaks and valleys, and give it some stronger choruses, and then listen to other bands of this style and see what's going on, because I think they really just rushed this one out is what it feels like. But anyway, this is my take on it. If anybody out there has anything they want to say about this, or they've heard it or whatever, as always, feel free to share your comments below. And I'd like to give these guys a chance, so like, share, and subscribe, and go check out their other albums. I'm going to do that, and we'll talk to you on the next one. See ya.